Coming up, sharp objects.
Ow, what?
We unscrew a non-OEM screw. And we jam in the freshly repainted Alpina.
I'm cold. Winter. Welcome back to, frankly, I don't remember which part of Project Chicago. I have to look it up. I can't feel my fingers. 16. This series has 16 parts. I can't believe it, but apparently that's what we have. In the previous episode of Project Chicago, the notorious Alpina B7, we left off with paint issues. I had some body panels repainted here locally by some crappy paint shop and they looked terrible. So I sent the entire car to Poland, to Artur and David, to Artur Slabek service, and said they're either going to paint the mismatched body panels or repaint the entire car. After they received the car and Artur went over it, he wasn't impressed. Every single body panel had some sort of imperfection, scratch, rock chip, whatever. And he said the best option is to simply repaint the entire car and have a perfect paint. This car originally from the factory is supposed to have Schwarz 2 paint. And I already said my opinion on that paint. I don't like it. It's the most boring and hateful color to me from BMW. It's just plain uni black paint. There's no metallic finish in it. Really boring, super soft, very easy to scratch and difficult to maintain. And the thought of repainting the car to a color that I'm not going to like just didn't sit well with me. So I decided we should change the color. I decided on the new color within 15 minutes. And I wanted to stick with a factory option E65 color. And I decided to go with individual Azurite or Azurite Black, which if I'm not mistaken is successor to Carbon Black. So it's beautiful, deep blue metallic paint in direct sunlight. It just looks stunning and they've done an exquisite job. They changed the color of the car properly, painted the door jambs and everything. Let me show you. Still can't see it, can you? All right, we'll take it out. The car actually came a few days ago, but I was waiting purposely on a sunny day so I can show you the paint properly, even though it's -8 in Frankfurt. I didn't sign up for this. I mean, I'm wearing proper gear, aren't I? It's no longer plain, boring black. Deep blue metallic. Perfection, absolute perfection. And as I said, this is a factory option color for the E65 platform. You could order this one through the individual program. I forgot the paint code, but it's called Azurite or Azurite Black. And they've done a fantastic job. Like, it's not good. It's fantastic. Trust me when I tell you this, it looks stunning in person. So much better than before. Beautiful dark blue metallic paint. And you know what's the best part of it? They've done such a good job. The quality of the paint is insane. There's no dirt in it. There's no orange peel. There's nothing. There are no imperfections. It just looks factory quality paint job. It's actually better than what factory did to this car because it's beautiful. And the color change was done properly as well. They didn't just paint what you can see on the outside and call it a day. No. It was painted on the inside as well. So all of the door jambs and stuff, hopefully camera can capture that, but all of this was painted. So all of the doors were off completely. The trunk was off, the hood was off, all of the trim was off. They didn't remove the glass because you can remove all of these seals here. And they had to replace that. This was actually quite expensive. 800 euros just in rubber all around. And yeah, all of that amounted to a phenomenal paint job. And I'm beyond happy. And trust me when I tell you this, I'm one of the most pickiest persons when it comes to paint. If there's even a slight imperfection in something, I'm gonna note that and I'm gonna complain, but there's nothing to complain about here. They did polish it somewhat quickly and that it doesn't look that good. It definitely needs to be paint corrected again, but that's the final thing to do with the paint. In 2 months, the car is going to Gian, to Cologne. I say in 2 months because the paint has to fully cure. It's winter, it's gonna take a lot longer than it would in summer for all of it to gas out. And then they can do their thing. They're going to paint correct the entire car, make it 100% perfect everywhere. And then they're going to protect it. The front end is going to get PPF. And then the rest of the car ceramic coating. PPF is a must on the front end with fresh paint, because otherwise it's just gonna get blasted on the Autobahn, all the rock chips and stuff. With PPF, all of that is going to be protected. So I'm very, very much looking forward to that. Huge thank you to Arthur and David for their work. I mean, the amount of work they put in this car to change the color. It was already black, so we don't need to paint the engine bay or anything like that, because even from the factory, when you take this color, it just looks like normal black in the engine bay. They've done the same thing on the E92. For example, this car, M3, which is Silverstone Metallic 2, if you open the engine bay, it looks almost white, completely different color than what this is. So it looks factory. I'm super happy. I don't know what I want to say. Anyway, I'm absolutely freezing, so you have to go inside, and then we're gonna do some stuff, put the kidney grills and the emblem. We have brand new kidney grills and the hood emblem, all original parts, and as such, they are expensive. Let's start with the easy one, the badge, surface prep, the grommets. Do I need a hammer? Let's heat them up a little bit. Fresh from the barbecue. There we go. Nice. We need to remove the hinge as well. Spring cleaning in middle of the winter. Don't force anything unless you want to break some clips. Clips be clipping muy excellently. Now we're going to remove the front wheels. I'll show you in a second why. This is why in the previous episode the under tray came loose while we were driving on the Autobahn, launched into the tire and slashed it, destroyed what basically is a brand new tire, and now I have to replace both of them in order to match. So I'm going to drop the wheels off with the same guy that finished them. That way I know he's not going to scratch them, and if he does, he can repaint them again. I mentioned in the previous episode that CEO of Alpina, Andy Bovenzippen, reached out and offered to help with the project. One of the things that he offered me is free supercharger rebuild. Now, I overhauled this supercharger in, I don't remember which episode. It was leaking, so I took it apart completely and replaced all of the O-rings and gaskets. And now it's not leaking and it's working totally fine. But since they offered to overhaul it completely, that includes one part of it that I can't service on my own, which is the impeller bearing. There's a carbon seal in there as well. So that's something they can do. Plus, since they're going to take it apart completely, they're going to replace the clutch kit and of course all of the O-rings and gaskets and whatnot. So we're going to take the supercharger off now. I'm going to ship it to Alpina. They're going to overhaul it, and once it comes back, we're going to have 100% brand new supercharger, which is going to be nice. I think I can do it blindfolded at this point, but let's not get too cocky, shall we? Hello, it's been a long, crisp second for you. For me, it's been about a month, but we're back with a brand spanking new supercharger. Yep, Alpina came through big time. Not sure what happened with the old supercharger, but I was sent a brand new unit, and this thing is gorgeous, beautiful. On top of that, they sent me a lot of other goodies, like this cover for the air filter. Mine had broken clips brackets here. Then the CCV connection, so I can replace my homemade one, if you remember, and all of the boots and stuff to connect it to the intercooler. The old ones didn't look that great, so I asked if they could send that as well, and they did. Plus, they sent me all of the plastic covers that live underneath the car that I'm going to show you in a bit. I just want to say, Alpina and Andy, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate this. My whole goal with this project is to restore it back to perfection, and this certainly helps with that. So, massive thank you. Look at that impeller. Brand new gasket. All right, I'm gonna blow these out with compressed air, and then we are ready to reinstall it. longer ones in the back. The supercharger belt, and I marked its direction. And that's the engine bay reassembled. I had to do a bit of work off camera as well. Namely, I had to replace this coolant pipe. This is the coolant pipe that lives between the water pump and the valley pan cover. It connects the two, and this one was bad. It started to leak coolant there. This is the part from Gates, and I've used Gates in the past before. They're usually good quality parts. I never had any issues, but this particular one is crap. I mean, it is a simple pipe, a bit of metal on the inside and a bit of rubber on the outside. But this one is all sorts of deformed, and it developed a coolant leak there. I ended up talking to Jarax, the E65 guru and N62 expert from Czech Republic, and he told me for this particular pipe, you have to use only the original part. Everything else is going to fail. So there's a tip there. If you're replacing the water pump or messing with the cooling system, use the original pipe here. Don't use anything else, because this was a bit of a faff to replace. Anyway, this means that I drained the coolant, and now we need to refill the system. Set temperature to highest and fan to lowest. Now I'm gonna replace the thrust arms. That's the only component in the suspension that I didn't replace, because this one looked kind of newish, so I left it alone. But I was fooled by the look of it. It's actually not that good. This bushing has too much play, and you can feel that when you drive. The car is a bit floaty and not stable, especially when you hit the brakes. So that means that these bushings here are worn out. So we're gonna pop this one out and get the new one in. Oh no. Oh yes. Thank goodness. Don't need to remove the steering knuckle. Brand new OE Lemforder control arm going back in. Anything is a hammer if you know how to use it. New nut. And another new sugar nut. Need to remember to buy ratcheting 21. Always forget. I'm gonna spend next 3 days doing this. Finger tight, and then this one we torque with the car on the ground and fully loaded suspension. Nice. Time to put the wheels back on. Well, 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 what do we have here? Mutzi is sporting the latest M539 merch. Isn't she the cutest thing ever? Mutzi with bandana. I think you deserve a treat, Mutzi. Right? Yes, you do. Fun fact about Mutzi, she loves chicken. Come, Mutzi. Here. No mas. Should we go home? Coming down. Wheel hub paste from Liqui Moly. We're gonna apply it only here on the lip, not on the rotor itself. Brand new tires mounted. We have Michelin Pilot Sport 4S in the front, and in the back we have Pilot Super Sport. I couldn't find that for the front as well, and they are brand new tires. So once they wear out, I'm gonna switch to 4S in the back as well. That is if it's available in that size. It's difficult to shop for this car. The tires are weird sizes. Ready for the cold start. The car didn't run at this point for a month and a half. Get the oil in the supercharger going. All right, now we're gonna drive it back and forth, then we can torque the thrust arms, but I'm also gonna let it warm up all the way because I want to change the oil. Sounds good? Sounds really good. Man, the paint looks so good. I'm gonna let it work for about 10 minutes. The oil is full of condensation. The car hasn't been driven properly in ages. That's why I want to change it, and then we're gonna go for a nice long drive. The torque for the thrust arm bushing is 100 newton-meters plus 90-degree angle, and you should always torque by the nut because that way you're applying proper clamping force versus torquing by the bolt. Unfortunately, we can't fit the torque wrench on this side to torque by the nut, so we're gonna torque by the bolt and just add 10% more. That should do it. You should always try to torque more by the nut here. If you can't, that means you're good. The filter is squeaky clean, nothing to report here. However, the engine is full with condensation, and that's due to the fact that it was in Poland for such a long time. And when you paint the car, you just start it, you move it from one place to another. And that's about the worst thing you can do for an engine because it never gets warm enough and it just creates condensation, and then you get this milky yellowy stuff in the oil. So we're gonna put fresh oil in it, do a couple more things, and then we're gonna hit the Autobahn. This is the only filter you can use on Alpina H1 engine and nothing else. Lube up the O-ring here, pre-lube the oil filter. We're still going with 5W50. In the previous episode, we had a small mishap on the Autobahn. This thing came apart at high speed, started flapping around, then came apart, jammed into the left tire, slashed the said tire, and destroyed everything around it. So here we have specific Alpina B7 engine under tray cover thing that Alpina sent me, which is again much appreciated because this thing is really expensive. This is also specific to B7. This goes around the power steering reservoir in the engine bay. The car is missing that. And then these are standard E65 parts. Lower fender liners, air ducts, and a bunch of bolts and screws and stuff. This is going in. Plug back in the temperature sensor. From the factory, the engine under tray is held with plastic rivets to the subframe in the back, and that's what came apart on us the last time, and the thing started flopping around and it just came apart completely. So this time around, we're gonna use actual bolts. This is the toolkit that one amazing subscriber and Patreon, Philip, sent me. Philip, my friend, I know I said thank you 15 million times, so it probably doesn't mean anything at this point, but I'm really grateful for your support, so thank you again. This is a super nice toolkit because it actually allows us to rivet threads into the subframe and use actual bolts. This is one of the holes in the subframe where the plastic rivets go into. I already tried to make threads here, but the hole is too small, so we're gonna have to drill them out and then pop the rivets in. Now we just unscrew it. That is really nifty. Absolutely no chance for this thing to fly apart now. All right, let's see how this thing fits in. Nice! Now the engine bay is fully complete. Sounds good! Like Guten Tag! It has a beautiful V8 burble. On to the next thing. We are going to service the transmission. It doesn't have any issues at the moment. It was actually minorly serviced in the States right before I bought it. I have an invoice for oil and filter change, but ever since doing this thorough service on the X5, and Alpina and X5 have the exact same transmission, the one in the X5 shifts so much smoother and quicker than the one in Alpina, so I decided that this car is going to get a thorough service of the transmission as well and just get it in the best possible shape it can be. So here we have correct fluid from Liqui Moly, all original ZF parts, solenoids, O-rings and rubbery bits, new filter, new plate, new gasket, and even comes with the manuals and whatnot. I bought this on German eBay from a seller with the username SSP something. I think the name of the company is TCI Spare Parts, and I can recommend them because this is the second set that I bought from them. All I did was send them an email with the chassis number of the car, and they sent me the link to the kit that I need that contains everything we need to service the transmission. This was 527 euros, excluding the fluid. So not too bad for original ZF parts. Just real quick, I stopped by the dealer this morning and picked up genuine BMW bolts to replace the generic ones that I used previously. We gotta make this look right, don't we? And that's OEM Plus. Aluminium oil pan. I think you know what that means. Don't ya? Hello. First, the fill plug. There you go. Brace yourself for an extra splash. 17th January of 2019. And they used genuine part. Now disconnect the connector on the side. Now I can pull this. Now I need to remove the said plug, which I can't even show you because the exhaust is in the way. We have two different size bolts here, T27 and T40. We are going to remove T40 ones in order to drop the mechatronics. First, we're going to start in here, remove this bridge connection thing. Clip the new one in. Now the rubber sleeves, we're going to do them one by one. Here's the new one that I generously covered in oil. We have the longest one here, medium length here, and two short ones here. Now we're going to play with the valve body. We need to replace the stuff that comes in the kit, the solenoids here, this wiring loom, and the plate. So let's first remove the wiring. Now we need to separate electronics from the valve body, and the kit comes with this nifty sheet that tells us which bolts to remove. This is E-shift by wire, so we need to remove two bolts here, and two there. There we go. Now we're going to remove the rest of the bolts and separate the valve body. Crack open the coffin. Don't flip this one around. We have springs and check valves and things all around, and you don't want that to come out. Now we can make sure we got the right plate. You can see the part number there, A053, and then on the other side it says B053, and that's the exact same plate I got. Now we're going to change the solenoids. We have three yellow ones. These are actually blue, one black, one green, and another black one on the other end. First we're going to remove the retaining plate and then pull them out and replace them one by one. We need to remove this rod as well. Oil. Clean plate. That's this half done. Clean carbon fiber. Like the last time, I'm not going to take this apart. We have a lot of check valves, springs, and things splattered around, and I don't want to misplace anything, and there's really no need to take it apart. We're just going to clean the surface and pull out this mesh filter. See if it's clean. Sure is. Then put it back in. Now we can replace these little dumpers here. You can use a pick tool to push them up. We have three that are really squished, two that are sort of squished, and one that looks good. Q-tips, bit of oil. New one's going in. Brand new plate, only goes in one way. Gingerly. Now I'm gonna flip it on the other side and mount back the electronics. Here we need to make sure we line up the pin with this slidey thing here. Torque time, there is no specific sequence in which order you torque the bolts, so I'm just gonna start from inside to out. The torque spec is 6 Nm. The valve body is ready to go back in. Now we're going to put back the valve body, and we need to make sure we engage the mechanism here, otherwise we won't be able to shift. I highly recommend getting a second person to help, unless you have 3 hands or you like to struggle like yours truly. So you're going to struggle. Nope, there goes one. Yep. Nice. Now the sleeve for the connector with lubed up O-rings. Here you need to line up this tab with the connector itself, push it in real hard, and then push on the locking tab. Ah, finally. All right, I struggled for a good 10 minutes with that. You have to press on the sleeve really, really hard and get it seated all the way, and then you can push on the tab. Otherwise you can't push it, you can't press it. These are the magnets. A little bit of wear, that is normal. These come in the kit. After Vixen surface treatments, vapor blasting cabinet. Brand new gasket, the zippy ties, keep the gasket in place. Brand new filter, and I lubed up the O-ring. Brand new drain plug. Now I'm gonna start filling the transmission. Overflowing. Okay, ladies and senoras, now we're gonna start the car, shift through the gears, and I connected my diagnostic tool so we can monitor the temperature of the transmission. Once it reaches 30 degrees Celsius, we're gonna open the fill plug and start filling the transmission until it starts overflowing. Let it drip out, refit the plug, finito. Up in the air it goes. All right, I topped off the transmission and now I'm slowly letting it warm up. It's pretty cold outside. At the moment it's at 16 degrees Celsius. It needs to reach 30, then we need to remove the fill plug and check the level. All right, 30 degrees. Let's open the fill plug. And the exhaust is super, super hot, so we gotta be careful here. Nothing is coming out, so we need to start filling the transmission. All right, there we are, it's full. Now we need to let it drip out. So ZF repair manual specifically said to let it drip out completely until you see single droplets and then refit the plug. That's it. The cover. Welcome to the trunk of the Alpina. The toolkit is pretty much empty and we can't have that. So I bought all of the tools to complete it. First, this thing here. Original B&W fuses. Original B&W spanners. What? This one only fits one. Ow, what the f*** is written? Okay, real OEM shows that this toolkit contains both of these spanners, 1312 and 10.8, but this one only has one, 10 and 13. So we're gonna fit the 10 there, and then 13 underneath the first aid kit. Screwdriver. Original first aid kit in which I put fresh stuff in. That goes there like that. Beautiful, now you have a complete toolkit. The car also has a spare tire, full-size spare tire. a jack and a handle, so this is a perfect road trip car to go anywhere. The license plates, the frames for the plates will be added soon to the merch shop. Still working on that. Time to hit the Autobahn and stretch Alpina's legs. The interior of this car is so nice and clean, I had to get out of my work clothes and get into something clean, like my brand new hoodie. Very nice and comfy, and most importantly, oil stain free. For now, that is. Foot to the floor. My God, it pulls. The torque is just biblical. It just pulls like nobody's business. Transmission shifts perfect. .270 like nothing. And this speed applies only at night from 10 to 6 in the morning. This is the restricted part of the Autobahn here during the day. Yeah, this car is really fast. It just pulls in peace and quiet. This car has given me a lot of issues, but now that it's completely fixed and restored, what a machine. What a car. You can cruise at high speed on the Autobahn for days. The transmission feels great. I think it's quicker than before, but I can't really remember, to be honest. Still bugs me that it's not as stable at high speeds as E60 M5. It's too floaty. I might look into doing something with the brakes. There's no bite. You press on the pedal and it slows the car down, but I know when I do it in the E39 or E60 M5, there's that initial bite that gives you confidence in braking. This one is just meh. I don't know if we need different pads or discs or something. I don't know. Because on papers, the brakes are not that bad. I think we're gonna end this episode here. This was just rather a quick one to give you an update on the paint and the rest of the stuff. In the next episode, we're gonna drive to Cologne, to Gion, and the car is gonna spend about 4 or 5 days with them getting a complete detail on the outside, and I'm gonna film all of that as well. So it should be a pretty nice episode. After that, we're gonna head to Munich to visit my friend Ollie and put the car on the dyno, see what kind of power it's making. I think that'll be rather interesting to see. I'd say that was successful stress testing. The car didn't fall apart. It feels fantastic. The engine, the gearbox, everything is perfect. I think we need to get our celebratory song on. Have the aux cable here.